Welcome to HR Voices, real talk with people leaders who are in it every day. We get into the messy stuff, the challenges that keep them up at night, and how they're actually fixing them. No corporate fluff, just smart conversations for people who care about people. HR Voices is brought to you by All Voices, the platform that cuts hours of manual HR work with step-by-step workflows and AI to assist with investigations, performance improvement, accommodations, leave requests, and more, so you can get back to the human side of HR. Welcome to HR Voices. I'm your host, Emily Finnick, and today I'm chatting with Einav Lavi, the CHRO at EnterpriseDB. Welcome.
Thank you, Emily. Thank you for having me.
Yes, and we just learned before that you were on a late night flight arriving at 3:00 in the morning. So I am so lucky that you didn't just sleep in. So thank
Yeah,
you for being here.
after this call, but happy to have the conversation with you. Thank you.
Yes. So, Enterprise DB helps large organizations get their data in shape, keep their data in shape for security and scale. I am vastly oversimplifying it, but could you tell me a little bit about Enterprise DB, what type of customers you work with, what are your employees like, and give us an overview of your role as setting people's strategy for Enterprise DB.
Oh, it's a big question. So let me start. EDB, exactly as you were saying, we are leading the strategic transformation for organizations, right? So we're working mostly with big enterprises or big customers, very much in those customers that need to manage their databases. But what is really amazing about EDB and why I joined this organization is that we're going through a big transformation where EDB used to be that supporting traditional identity for companies to manage their databases, but now we are really providing the sovereign data and AI platform, which means that companies can manage their database in a sovereign world with no worries of how security and how with the automation of AI and analytics. So it's very exciting journey, and that's why I joined the organization about 2 years ago. Looking forward to lead and drive that transformation with our CEO, Kevin Dallas, and the rest of the team.
So tell me a little bit more about your background and why you think you were chosen or what attracted you to that challenge.
It's very interesting. My background is actually from finance and accounting. This is where I was starting my career back then. And then I was really like the combination of people and data and people and analytics and people and driving transformation. And I've been in the HR business talent transformation field for more than 20 years now. But really was looking for organizations that are going through a transformation. That's my strength, and mostly in private equity companies. So I've been working with private equity companies for about 17 years, helping CEOs and teams to drive transformation with talent. As technology moving very fast, you want to make sure that you have the right talent to cope with the future, and you have the right culture, the growth mindset culture, the ability to embrace change, the ability to learn fast, the ability to understand, yes, I can do it. The can-do attitude is very important for us at EDB. EDB was exactly where I wanted to be for a couple of reasons. One is the technology and data and AI. This is where everyone wants to be at this point. But I was super impressed by the CEO of the organization in Dallas. And this is the main reason for me joining, because he has that ability to not only have a very clear vision of how we're going to transition from a database company to a sovereign data and AI, but also how we're going to do it with the power of people, with the culture. So funny story, I flew to Seattle to meet him on my interview, and we spent 7 hours together. We had breakfast, and then he canceled his, we had lunch, and he canceled all the rest of the meetings. And I have a flight back home. Otherwise, we could have spent more hours. But it shows me Kevin's very rare understanding that for us to be able to do a transformation, we need to focus on the culture and the people. So we spent more than 7 hours to really plan and strategize how we're going to do it.
Yeah, I think that CEO CHRO relationship is so make or break for not just the CHRO, but like for the entire company. Could
Oh
you
yeah,
talk to me a little bit more about that relationship, its importance to you?
I think First of all, my background and what I bring to the table, and I think that's why I'm a good partner to my CEOs, is the ability to understand the business side of things, right? It's not only about, so I love to see CEOs like Kevin that really look at the people and culture, but at the same time, you need to balance with what are the ROIs? What does the business need, right? So I think more and more with the transformations that companies are going through, with the transformation with AI, with the technology trends and changes, frequent changes, people partners are having a very critical role, looking to think about what is the workforce of tomorrow. We need once the financial understanding and the operational acumen, but also the commitment for employees engagement and employees development as we move fast. I think that's probably the biggest challenge of CHRO these days when they're looking on how we can move very fast, and specifically private equity companies. We need to move very fast. We need to have that growth mindset. But at the same time, we care. We care, we engage, we want to bring that empathy that is very important for this role.
Yeah. I think it's a myth that those skills are distinct. I think sometimes you hear that, oh, I'm a people person. I love people and I'm not comfortable with data. And I think, you kind of have to be both to be successful in that role.
Thank you for saying that. You sounded exactly like me. I always say that when I interview people partners or HRBPs to my team, and when I ask them why HR, why is this role? To be honest, I don't like this response with I love people. I think most of us love people one day, some days we love them less. I think it's about what are you trying to achieve? What is that's what can you drive? How can you drive the business forward with bringing the empathy, the care? People don't call HR to ask about their payroll. I don't want people to call me to ask about when is my payroll or when is the next holiday. By the way, all of this can be done with chatbot these days and with automation and AI. What I'm really looking at and what EDB is doing very well with the transformation of AI is to have my HRBPs focusing on the soft side of things. What are your aspirations? What your career looks like? There is no one fits all. And luckily, the AI transformation was giving us the opportunity to focus on what people care and how, what is your career, where do you want to be, and how EDB can support you in that journey and get much more time on your calendar to have those real conversations with people and drive this career. So yes, no, we don't. It's not yes, we love people, but we are doing much more than that, and we have to do much more than that for the business and for the employees.
Yeah, absolutely. When you think about your employees, when you think about feedback loops, things that you're hearing directly from them, what would you say is the biggest challenge that you think employees are sort of facing in this moment at your organization?
I think mostly in ADB and in fast growing organizations, it's about the change. It's about there is so much change happening, right? I can tell you that in 2 years, when I'm telling my board about the changes I've been making in the last few years, months, it feels more like 5 years, right? We're moving very, very fast. And with that, people are saying, what's about me? Like, what is that for me? The company is moving very fast. We were able to overachieve results now for 2 years since the new leadership has joined. We were able to gain the best customers in the market, the whales. It's a huge shift for employees. They have a different company now. How do we help them to go through that change? How do we enable them to have that understanding that this is not only a transformation with the company, but also it is a great opportunity for an individual transformation and really looking at the growth of the individual. This is probably what I'm spending most of my time, change management, and specifically with what we're doing at EDB. And what we are doing with the big transformation that we're going through, we're mostly over communication, mostly over communicating. We put a process in place where employees can reach out to anyone in the organization and just, hey, Kevin, the CEO, I got this from message. What do you mean by that? Very flat organization. We want always to be there for employees. Again, automation and AI enable us to have more time to focus, to be more accessible for employees. Second, it's about the growth mindset. We really focus on that. I wrote a growth mindset program to the organization. Everyone in the organization is taking that program and has been amazing to see the understanding of people understanding of people that it is not only a corporate transformation, but I can grow within the company, and this is how, and this is what is required for me. So, and equipping employees with the growth mindset, with programs that we are bringing, showing them the why very clear. Our guiding principles are all about driving clarity, creating alignment, spreading energy. I hope you can see my energy after sleeping for 3 hours. But it's a lot about that. It's a lot about you're part of the journey, and this is how you can impact. We have launched a framing memo. The framing memo is 40 pages, who we are, where we go, very clear plan for the following 5 years, and very clear objectives for each of the functions of what they need to do to drive the company ahead. And we're doing a lot of activities and trivia events and a lot of activities and engaging activities around, do you understand what are we doing? What are the objectives of the organization and how you can impact those? So I think the ability to have clarity, to give clarity to employees, to create that alignment within departments of how we can work together towards that goal. And the mechanism of feedback is a key for employees, specifically in these environments where there is so much change and transformation.
Yes, I love that. I think it's such a underrated thing to communicate with consistency and clarity. It sounds simple enough. We can sit here on a podcast and say you need to do that, but to actually show up and do it on a daily basis, I think when you look at performance issues and where people struggle, it tends to come back to like not understanding what it was that you were supposed to be doing in the first place.
Yes. This is why we put these 4 guiding principles. It's a lot about driving clarity. And that's why we are investing a lot in the managers, in the leadership in EDB, because they are going to drive the change. At the end of the day, I can come with the best practices and best processes. But if the leaders won't once believe in what we're doing, have that understanding of what we are doing, and then thinking about how I'm going to take that message to my teams, we won't be able to drive this transformation. So super critical.
Yeah. We talked about the CHRO relationship with CEO and how that's so important, the alignment. But can we talk a little bit more about managers? Just your relationship, your team's relationship with the management function in general. What does that look like?
Yeah, we are part of the game. I hate when companies are calling HR the back office, or we don't do that. We're sitting hand by hand with the manager. So we are doing talent reviews at least quarterly, which means that every quarter, every manager is meeting with a people partner to go over what are your challenges, what are you facing. No surprises. We're using a lot of data, very data-driven conversations, because we're doing quarterly reviews. So every quarter, every manager has to respond to 5 questions. What is the performance of your employee? Potential? Do you want to promote that individual? How critical are the organization? And what is the impact they are making? This data that we are gathering on a quarterly basis is giving us a very good basis for conversations, real conversations again. So the people partners, my team, is sitting with each of the managers on a quarterly basis and really going over those questions. Why did he say that about those employees? We're also looking into data. We're using AI for projecting attrition. So my team is now able to say, okay, based on the predictive attrition analytics, I'm saying that employee is not engaged enough. They didn't respond this in those surveys. They're not sitting on their own hands. We have different databases that we're using to really analyze if there is a flight risk of employees. So there are no more surprises of you're getting a resignation letter, but we are actually talking with managers on a quarterly basis, identifying those at flight risk based on the data, identifying the top talent, and we have very generous programs of equity that we are giving. Again, it's a private equity company, so we're giving more equity to employees, to the top talent, and recognizing them. There is a lot of through discussions about their people and what can we do about them on at least quarterly basis. Once you do that, you're becoming more a strategic partner. You're becoming very data, fact-driven HR BP, and not just, okay, you have a problem with your payroll, let me jump in and help you. Or we don't do that because the AI is able to free up our time to have those strategic discussions. So to answer your question, to make it simple, it's a lot about conversation, engagement with the managers, empowerment of the management. We are doing some EQ programs for management of how you show empathy to your team, because now that the machines can take the rest of the machine can do that, and we are now going through a process of really identifying what areas the machine can take, AI can take. Then we need to focus on the EQ with managers. So it's a lot of real conversations about people, and then based on real conversations, data, facts will come with the program. So it's a very strategic process that we've implemented this year.
Yeah. Two things I really like about what you just said is that you're taking the time that it's freeing up, and instead of just stuffing more productivity into the time or greater expectations, you're actually leveraging it for conversation and empathy, which I don't think I've heard that response yet.
Hey, the first
Yeah.
one. Managers are really appreciative of that because when you have real conversations, you also can predict what are the challenges that managers will have and how you can really be a partner for them. So I can easily tell you, and don't ask my CEO, ask their leadership. They really appreciate that we are now having those conversations that they couldn't have before because it was very much of like, okay, I need to do this. And we did free up the time to be able to have those conversations that are super critical for our role.
Hmm. Yeah. And the second thing I like too is that, quantitative data, you can't over index on it, right? You use it to point you in the right direction. But I think you've said the word conversation. Like, if there was a word bubble of us talking, you tend to you seem to be very like discussion and conversation focused, which as a data company to hear the CHRO talk about conversation as an input, as an important input, qualitatively is refreshing.
Yeah, we just came. So we had an employee event last week, and they were asking some questions. We have a panel for the ELT, the executive leadership panel, and one of the questions they asked me, "How do you like to spend your day? One-on-ones or working on a presentation?" My answer definitely was about this because this is the only way. There are things that the machines cannot replace. The emotional intelligence, the care, the empathy, the strategic thinking. So having the time and the ability to focus on conversation is just like a game changer for us.
Absolutely. Let's talk about the things. We have one more question for you is just what are those things that it can replace? Like, what are you trying? What are you excited about? What are you automating when it comes to AI, both in your product, but also in your people function?
Oh, I love your question. So we have a process of fit for purpose. And the fit for purpose is me and my team sitting with each of the leaders and really looking at first the structure. What is the structure? These are your objectives based on the framing memo. Now let's talk about the structure that you need for your team. And then with the structure, what is the talent that we need? What are the skills gaps and what are the gaps that you have and how we can fulfill them? What I've added this year in 2025 is another question. What role can be automated? So think about what we're doing today in each of the functions. I'm doing that with each of the functions. What role can be replaced by AI? And what roles we cannot replace? Because again, the creativity, the strategy, a machine cannot do. But the human machine partnership with now generating a huge amount of data into a quick report, enough, this is what your employees are saying. I'll give you a quick example, the engagement survey, right? I had to go over 5,000 responses to understand what is the sentiment of employees. You don't need to do that today. The AI is summarized, and this is what your promoters are thinking. These are what we are. It's easy to come in and say, okay, I can really focus time on the strategy I need to build based on this data instead of focusing on the data and cleaning and looking at what people are responding. So this one example. Another great example within my function is the sourcing. We used to have 5 sources in my team. We have 0 today. We are using AI for sourcing. We are getting the best way. The AI is able to go and search in multiple job sites and come to us with like these are the best candidates, and also prioritize based on different metrics, how frequently they are jumping for a job to job, her. So the ability of my team to focus on, again, conversations with candidates based on this is the best candidate you should talk with. The AI is doing the sourcing. My team is getting the shortlisted candidates and having real conversations about career, culture. How do you evaluate culture? This is what I want my team to focus on, and not on your experience, what you've done before. Is it relevant for the job? Because they will get the most qualified candidates. So 2 examples for my function, but what I'm going through now, we've started about 6 months ago, is really to ask the same questions for each of the leaders. Now that you're clear on your structure of your department, on the skills that you need and the talent that you need, how what are the roles that you can automate? What are the roles that you can bring AI to support? So this
Yeah.
is the transformation started this year.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's not just like a hammer in search of a nail, which some AI is just sort of looking for. I'm not articulating it clearly, but right, like if you have AI, everything looks like a problem that AI can solve, right? But when you actually look at your processes a little bit more closely, right, in terms of what can be automated, what has good data behind it, so you're not just scaling garbage or you're not just scaling
So
brokenness, like right,
augmenting. I think when I about 7 years ago, when I brought the first tool into my talent acquisition function, the first AI tool, everyone was panicking. You're going to replace us. This is just the first step. No, I don't see it this way. This is really freeing up your time so you can focus on the strategic work, on making decisions, on really engaging in conversations, and something that the machine cannot do. And I think now people that have been working with me for a couple of years, they can see how I'm using AI, and leveraging that into, again, automating what is the administrative work and freeing up the time to focus on conversations and building relationship and really understanding the pains of the employees and the managers, and being able to be a real partner for them.
right, right. All Voices is we have AI in our platform for employee relations as a function, and we don't hear that the tool is causing people to decrease team size. What it is that like people are grateful. They're like, I don't have to go back and re-listen to an interview five
Yeah.
times to figure out what was said. Like it's right there.
Yeah, or taking notes. Or taking notes.
That's
My
right.
man, they don't need to take notes anymore. Just the effort of like, I need to to put feedback after the interview. They don't need to do that. So if they can really focus on the conversation, and is
That's
that
right.
candidate is going to be a good fit for my team, instead of let me take the notes and make sure that I'm having it right for the HR team.
Yeah. Or let me
This
spend
is
hours
fixing
sort of
my
let me spend hours recompiling the information I already compiled, right? Nobody wants to be spending their day like that. I think we have a similar perspective. To me, it just seems like an awful lot of upside to be concerned about. Uh,
And more, I think these days, everyone understands that this is where we need to be. I don't think anyone will challenge why we bring AI and how
Mm.
is it going to replace roles or not. It was, I think, the initial conversations a couple of years back was around, is it going to replace talent? I think everyone knows now today that this is more of augmenting leadership,
Yeah.
giving opportunity to people to focus on the right things. Good trend that I'm seeing.
Yeah. And it seems like a great opportunity for, again, people leaders to sort of step up and sort of navigate the change within the organization because it's such a partnership of the people and the technology. And so
Oh, yeah.
I think you'll see a lot of great HR leaders sort of rise in this moment, rise to the challenge.
Exactly. And that's what we are focusing on now, how we are equipping the managers to drive that change and really embrace that change with the growth mindset.
Well, I want to let you, I mean, you've had a long night, and so I'm going to let you get some rest. But do you have any parting words of advice or wisdom for the HR leaders listening?
It's a big one. Just to understand, I think that understanding of the combination of what we were talking about, right? The ability that we need both the financial acumen and the operational acumen, but at the same time, we have to have that commitment of employees' development and engagement, and to find that balance. I'm asking myself on a weekly basis. I block my Fridays for some reflections, and I'm always asking couple of hours on Fridays, and I'm asking myself, did I do that balance this week? Like, can I find a balance between the empathy, building, spending time talking with employees, and at the same time driving the transformation that the organization is expecting me to do, and we need to make. So I think having that debate and challenge ourselves as people leaders will help us to drive the organization where it needs, and will bring a organization which is engaged and ready for the future.
So that's great advice. And even just pausing for reflection is something I think we could all be reminded of. That's great advice in and of itself.
Yeah, I've started doing it 3 years ago. It's working very well. Very important. We need a break sometimes to be
Yeah.
creative.
Yes. Well, thank you so much for being here. I really enjoyed our conversation.
Thank you. It was really fun. Thank you for having me.